Hi, I'm Jennifer. Let's study basic English. What's a habit? Habits are things we usually do. Regular actions are habits. For example, my husband drinks coffee every morning at breakfast. That's his habit. When I wake up, I always check my email. That's my habit. Listen as Flavia, Andreia, and I talk about our habits. Okay, we had before, after. Let's practice when. What do you usually do when you're with friends, when you're at home, when you're at school, when you're on the bus, right? When I'm at home, I usually work. When I'm at home, I sometimes relax and watch TV. And when I'm at home, I sometimes play the piano. Yeah. So, what do you do with friends? What do you usually do with your friends, Flavia?
I usually
With your friends?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Helpful friends. Okay. You say we usually talk, we usually study. Okay. When I'm with friends. What do you do when you're with friends?
When I with my friends, I sometimes walk in the park.
Mm-hmm. When I'm with friends, I sometimes take walks, or I walk in the park. Mm-hmm. You go to school, I think, on a bus and a train. Yes. What do you do when you're on the bus? Do you sleep? What do you do?
When I'm on the bus, I sometimes cell phone.
Look at my cell phone.
Look at my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you ask the same question? What do you do?
Well, when you are
when you're
when you
when you're on the bus.
When you are on the bus, what do you do? When I on the bus, when I am when I am on the bus, I usually sleep.
Good. Usually. I usually sleep.
Oh,
that's dangerous. You do like it. Do you sleep and do you get off at the right time, at the right stop?
Yes,
Yes. So you say, I usually wake her up.
I usually wake up.
Yeah. What could we say? What do you do at school? What do you do at school?
When I am at school, I always study.
Mm-hmm. I always study.
Yeah.
Okay. You can say I am, but in conversation, I'm. When I'm at school.
When I'm at school,
I always study. Mm-hmm. What do you do at school?
When I'm at school, I usually drink coffee.
And you can say, I never sleep. I always drink coffee.
Sometimes she's asleep.
But then you always wake her up.
Yes.
Yeah. She's a good friend. Remember, we use words like always, sometimes, and never after the verb to be. I'm always tired in the morning. She is usually tired after work. He is never happy in the morning. We use always, sometimes, and never before other verbs.
I never go to sleep early. She always watches TV after dinner. He sometimes rides his bike to work. We can use sometimes at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of a sentence. Sometimes he rides his bike to work. He sometimes rides his bike to work. He rides his bike to work sometimes. Listen for the words always, usually, often, sometimes, and never.
We always hear something.
In here?
So, when you go to school, when do you get the bus? Do you always get the bus at the same time?
I try.
You try. When does the bus usually come?
The bus usually comes at 7.
7 in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah. And are you always there?
No. Sometimes I miss the bus.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay. So you get the bus at 7 a.m. When do you usually arrive at school?
We arrive at school 8:30.
At 8:30.
At 8:30.
Or around 8:30.
Around 8:30.
So you usually get to school around 8:30. Okay. It usually takes an hour and a half in the morning. In the morning. When you go to school, it takes an hour and a half. 7 to 8:30. Right? You get the bus at 7 o'clock. And you go to school at 8:30. You get to school.
1 hour 30.
1 hour and 30 minutes.
And 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Ocho.
Oh, that's hard.
Sometimes.
So remember,
Sometimes.
an hour and 30 minutes, you can say an hour and 30 minutes or an hour and a half.
I have.
Yeah.
I know memories. This.
Half. Yeah. An hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
It takes an hour and a
Hour
half.
and a
That's
half.
in the morning. When you come home in the afternoon or the evening. How long does it usually take to get home?
1 hour and a half.
Oh, that was there. So it takes the same time
Yes.
there and back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
You also heard Flavia, Andreia, and I use the word when. We can use when in sentences and in questions. When you're at home, what do you like to do? What do you like to do when you're at home? When Andreia is at school, she usually drinks coffee. Flavia sometimes studies when she's with friends. Your turn. Tell me some of your habits. Do you usually drink coffee or tea in the morning? When you're home on the weekend, what do you usually do? Do you sometimes watch TV after dinner? Do you always listen to music when you're in the car or on the bus? Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching and happy studies.
Remember to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.